كيف الحال؟ كيف الصحة؟ عساكم الطياب؟ إن شاء الله الكوميكس ممتاز للحين إن شاء الله. My name is Sherifah Al Abri, and I will going to present about cloud technologies and their leverages on organizations' efficiency. كبداية أنا from a background from an IT perspective. So قبل حتى لا أروح الشركة أو قبل لا أبدأ دوامي دائما أسلم على السيرفرات مالي. لازم أجي أشوف السلام عليكم كيف صحتهم كل شيء أوكي. بعدين عاد أروح أسلم على الناس بالأصح. Let's start with our agenda for the day. I'm going to have to do an introduction of cloud computing and cloud transformation, the importance and the benefits of cloud transformations. Then we will touch base on the strategies of cloud transformation, and then we will close on cloud modules, which is on-premises versus on cloud. As cloud computing first. What is cloud computing? Cloud computing is the practice of using remote servers in the internet that interact together, and rather than running the applications and process data rather on a physical server or a traditional on-prem servers. So this is basically the cloud computing. Prior to the cloud computing, companies were investing a lot in their data centers, into their hosting applications, to host their applications and run their environments. They invest more into the data center in the CAPEX module, where they need to pay upfront for their data center managements and their applications as well. So cloud computing comes into an OPEX module, where companies can leverage on the OPEX module and not need to go into the CAPEX module of cloud, of basic data center, which is placed on-prem. As a result, computing was introduced as a virtual concept for those companies and organizations to focus more into their core businesses instead of focusing in the infrastructure and the data center part. There are 3 cloud module deployments, if you can see there. There are private cloud, and there is public cloud, and there is hybrid cloud. The differences between them: private cloud is building a private cloud on-prem for certain organizations. Public cloud is utilizing the cloud services provider, such as Oman Data Park, to host applications in the cloud. And a hybrid module, which is hosting certain applications on-prem or hosting it in the cloud provider. So the cloud mainly addresses 4 main pillars: data center, infrastructure, platform, application. Most important to all organizations is to run their applications. Running their applications, meaning they don't need to care about the platform, the infrastructure, the data center. The most important thing is to run the application. For the consumers, I mean, myself as a consumer or as a customer, my main concern is the application to run. If I have a certain application, I'll be frustrated that the application is not running. So the organization is more focused into the application running rather than the infrastructure side. Touching base of those 4 main pillars and correlating with the Oman Data Park, to touch first on the data center part. If you can see here, 3 data centers, which is located in the Sultanate, which one is in Rusail area, the other one is in Wataya, and the third one is in Duqm, the Duqm data center in Wasta region. So as a data center, for any organizations, they need to have a certain redundancy to host their applications, to know where the production side and the DR side, to have a physical separations between the data centers. As in Oman Data Parks, it offers this for their customers and having more than 350 racks in their data centers. Of course, as an expansion for modern companies, they need to expand their data centers. They need to pay upfront for their data centers expansion into the cloud module, where the cloud providers will be expanding their data centers. As in Oman Data Park, they are expanding in area, which will take more than 1,000 rack. And there is a fourth data center expansion for Oman Data Park, which is in Farq, which is in Dakhiliya region. All the 4 data centers will have tier 3 certified data centers, and the availability, which is 99.98 SLA available, which uses as well power utilization efficiency. What is power utilization efficiency? Power utilization efficiency is when the rack consumes more heat, the cooling area will start as well cooling the rack. If the rack is consuming less heat, and the cooling will be reduced as well. So there is a correlation between the cooling and the heat within the rack itself, which as a result will reduce the costs of the organization. Going into the infrastructure side, if you are aware of the infrastructure components, usually the servers, the virtual machines, and what is correlated within ODP is having a virtual data center, which is a premium virtual data center offered for their customers. And there is a private cloud. So certain organizations go into a cloud module deployment, which is a private cloud, where they need to deploy their data centers within on-premise. Going into the platform side, platforms is usually touching onto the operating systems and the Oracle. So for example, Oracle, Red Hat licenses, and NVIDIA as in GPU, artificial intelligence enabled. Those kind of examples for platform as a service. Into the application side, for the consumer, it's the most important thing, as I mentioned, it's the application itself. So your most important, as I would say for all of you, is your emails to run efficiently. You don't care about, once the email is not working, you will not go calling the IT, what happened to the infrastructure. You will just say, why my email is not working. That's the most important thing. So application side, or from manager side perspective, there is lots of applications offers, as in ERP solutions, as in emailing services like Microsoft Office 365 and Hosted Exchange. Moving forward, why companies should go into the cloud transformation? What is the benefit of cloud transformation? As in Forbes estimates in 2020, 83 of companies' workload found in the cloud, and Cyber Ventures indicates that by 2025, there will be more than 100 zettabytes of data stored in the cloud. So there is a demand in the market moving into the cloud because they need to keep up with the businesses, with the rapid technology changes. As in, we are in the technology area where the changes happen elastically. So just to sum up on the most important benefits of cloud transformation, first of all is cost efficiency, high scalability, increased efficiency, enhanced security, collaboration, and integrity. How cost efficiency? As in for organizations, they will be hosting their applications into the cloud provider where they don't need to take care of the data center, paying the electricity bills of the chillers and the coolers and all the components related to the data center. This will increase the cost efficiency of the organization, as well as they don't have to go into a CAPEX module where the cloud offers OPEX module for operations. High scalability. Let's say, for example, you have a certain project that you need to run in a certain period, let's say 1 year. If your utilizations of infrastructure is already consumed, so you will need to plan for procuring hardwares and deploying those projects, which will take lots of time. So into the cloud, no, you will have to deploy those projects on demand basis in a shorter time with a shorter resolution. So you will only have to deploy those resources in a certain period and then shut it down after finishing this project, which is the beauty of the cloud. Increase efficiency. One of the articles that I read today morning is a municipality that enhanced that moving to the cloud that increased their efficiency. How it increased their efficiency? They eliminated the human errors, they automated certain processes within their organization, which will allow them to focus more into the core business rather than solving problems of the infrastructure and all. Enhance security. How is cloud computing enhancing security? In cloud computing, you will have server patches, you will have latest technology, you will have zero-day threats, which cloud providers take care of that. So in case if you can move your legacy applications from legacy operating systems to an OPEX module, which will help you a lot into enhanced security. Collaboration integrity, how is that as a beneficial for organization? When an organization hosting their applications and their workloads into the cloud, they will have entities. They can integrate different entities, let's say healthcare with the banking sector. The infrastructure is already in place. They already integrated within it. So to inject this integration, it is easier in the cloud. As I mentioned, that why should be considered as a cloud transformation in the digital transformation. See, cloud transformation is only is a small part into the digital transformation. Digital transformation is a whole area where businesses and organizations need to look into. And cloud transformation is part of that. And for that to go enhance security, where they can inject artificial intelligence and machine learning and data analytics, where they can have a better insight of their organization, of their full overview data utilization, and as well to help them more into taking decision faster into the market. So what is the strategy to move to the cloud? I mean, if the organizations already invested in their data centers, they have already invested in their data centers, they don't want to move to the cloud. I have already invested in my data center. Why should I move to the cloud? So there is a certain strategy and concept that is done from cloud providers such as Oman Data Park, doing as a 5 years total cost of ownership, which is a real-time example that is done by organizations for those organizations. Let's say for a 5-year total cost of ownership, you will touch 4 pillars, as I mentioned: data center pillar, infrastructure, platform, and application. Organizations will have a full overview of their total cost ownership expenditure in the IT environment, into the IT. So whatever it takes for the workload to run, for your application to run, all the components related to that application, whether it's electricity, whether it's data link, internet, all those costs of OPEX and CAPEX module is analyzed in total cost of ownership consultation. This is the first stage for TCO activity analysis. TCO activity analysis starts with a consultation where you have to fill in all the OPEX and the CAPEX expenditure of your IT, touching base all the 4 pillars. From that, you analyze the data. You analyze going forward for 5 years. Maybe after 2 years, you need a tech refresh. That you need to mention it as well. Maybe after 2 years, you need to procure new licenses or support or EMC. all that need to be mentioned as well for you to have a full vision of 5 years. After that, you design your strategy. You design which cloud module deployment that you're going with. Is it a hybrid module, as in I will keep certain things on my on-prem and move certain into the cloud? Maybe that suits you because you have already invested in your data center. As in this designing a strategy, then you build your cloud environment where you partnership with the certain cloud providers in Oman Data Park to build your cloud deployment of your workloads. From there, it takes you to the project management on how you can manage and migrate those data and those legacies from on-prem going to the cloud. Of course, injecting the security services and as well the managed services from the cloud provider perspective. So the customer takes them from a data center perspective to the application, giving them a more focus into their applications, giving them more focus into their business, instead of taking care of the underlying infrastructure. All this activity is done in 5 years TCO without touching the human resources. So the human resources can be utilized in focusing more on how to innovate your business rather than fixing and the problems and the solutions of that related to the infrastructure. This showcases a real case scenario that made from on-prem versus on cloud. What happens if the customer moves on cloud? And this is real case studies that shows around 70% of cost saving for those organizations after their decision to move to the cloud. And this movement goes in phases. You cannot move as in from on-prem to the cloud immediately. It takes lots of collaboration between the companies and as well a dedication from the organization itself. So this is a closing of my slide. It showcases the on-prem versus or cloud deployment module. So we can say the on-premises, which is the traditional module technology, and movement to the cloud will be on phases. As I mentioned, if a company do not want to invest into their data center, they can start with the co-location. So they will cut cost savings of around 30% on their data center components, which will be shifted to the cloud provider. So it can be as a co-location. And if the company goes from a co-location to virtualizing their environment and taking care, moving all their hardwares and physicals into a virtual environment, they will have as well moving to the IaaS, which is around 40% cost savings. This is real-time scenarios that have been made for certain organizations, moving to the IaaS as infrastructure as a service. From IaaS moving to the platform as a service where you offload the headache of operating systems, the patching services, you offload it to a cloud provider as an Oman Data Park, you will have a cost saving of around 45%. And you will be focusing only on your application and your data. And you can utilize your employees and human resources into how to innovate and how to process your applications in more efficient way to serve your customers. Of course, the ultimate goal is to reach into the software as a service, as offloading as well, taking care only of the application part where the consumer having the full-fledged or taking care only of the application and not caring about all the infrastructure components, which minimum cost saving is around 50% for cloud deployment. So this showcases the cloud deployment model from on-premises perspective to cloud perspective versus cloud perspective. So moving to the cloud is inevitable, meaning that businesses and organizations have to leverage this cloud transformation, the power of cloud transformation, to stay competitive in the market. This closes my slides. In
أستاذة شريفة
case of
الوقت
any questions or any discussions, please feel free to ask me. We are here to have you all. Thank you for listening.